At 70, what counts as a win in life changes. It's no longer about chasing promotions, running marathons, or setting records. Instead, it's about holding on to the small things, quiet, powerful signs that you're still living life on your own terms. Many older adults today carry unseen victories: a steady walk, a sharp memory, a moment of laughter, or the ability to cook a simple meal. These aren't grand achievements, but they're deeply meaningful. Over the years, I've come across remarkable individuals in their 70s who remind us that true strength lies in everyday resilience. They don't stand out for titles or trophies, but for the 6 essential things they can still do, gracefully and independently. If you recognize any of these in yourself, it's a sign you're not just getting older, you're living well. Let's explore what those 6 things are and why they matter more than ever. 1. You can walk 500 steps without needing to rest. Let's start with something simple, yet surprisingly powerful: your ability to walk 500 steps without stopping. That's it. No speed, no trophies, just a steady walk, unassisted and without needing to catch your breath. It may not sound impressive at first, but for many people in their 70s, it's one of the clearest signs that their body is still working in harmony. Think of someone like Harold, 74, who still walks to his neighborhood bench each morning with a paperback tucked under his arm. It's around 500 steps from his apartment. He doesn't rush. His pace is calm, deliberate, but he gets there without resting, leaning, or gasping for air. That's not just a walk. That's a quiet declaration of independence. Why do these 500 steps matter so much? Because in real life, they represent more than just movement. They represent capability. It's what you need to walk through the grocery store, to navigate a doctor's office, or to stroll through the park with a friend. If you can still do that without needing to stop and sit, your heart, lungs, and legs are working together in rhythm, and that means something important is still intact. In fact, researchers have found that walking distance can be a better predictor of long-term health than even blood pressure or cholesterol levels in older adults. The ability to walk several hundred meters without pause shows that your cardiovascular system is supporting you properly. It also means your muscles haven't weakened to the point where they steal your independence. The truth is, most people don't notice the early signs of physical decline. One day it's choosing the elevator instead of stairs, just this once. Another day, it's needing to pause halfway through the pharmacy aisle. Over time, those small habits can quietly build into a bigger limitation. Muscles weaken, balance slips, confidence fades, and suddenly, something as simple as walking 500 steps feels like a mountain. But if you're still doing it day after day, without a second thought, you're not just moving, you're maintaining control. You're protecting your freedom. You're telling your body, I'm still here. I still choose to move forward. Even better, walking regularly helps more than your body. It benefits your brain. 2. Multiple studies show that older adults who walk daily experience better emotional stability, improved memory, and less risk of depression. That's because walking increases circulation, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to your brain. Each step literally sharpens your mind. And here's a small shift in mindset that might help. Instead of seeing walking as a chore, see it as a form of quiet resistance. Every step is a small stand against decline, a reminder that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it moves gently down the sidewalk, steady and unshaken. So the next time you're tempted to park closer, skip the stroll, or sit just for a minute, ask yourself, what would happen if you took those 500 steps anyway? Because if you're still walking without help, without fear, and without hesitation, you're not just staying active. You're walking with purpose. You're walking with life, and that's not just good for your health. That's a quiet, dignified form of victory. 2. You remember conversations, not just dates. Next, let's talk about memory, but not the kind that simply recalls phone numbers or appointments. We're talking about the kind of memory that holds on to people, stories, and emotions. If you can still remember a meaningful conversation, not just what was said, but how it made you feel, you're holding on to something deeply vital. Take Evelyn, age 71. She visits her grandson every weekend. Last Saturday, he told a silly joke about a talking dog. A week later, Evelyn repeated the joke word for word and even remembered the way he laughed. That may seem small, but it's actually a profound marker of cognitive health. What Evelyn displayed is called episodic memory, the ability to recall personal experiences with emotional detail. It's this kind of memory that helps you connect your life together, moment by moment. As we grow older, this kind of memory often fades first, unless we make the effort to keep it alive. In fact, a study from a Canadian research center found that older adults who regularly engage in conversation, especially emotionally meaningful ones, experience 32% less shrinkage in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for processing memory and emotion. That's not just interesting, that's powerful. Your brain stays healthier when it stays connected. And the good news, you don't need to rely on memory games or online apps to get this benefit. Real-world connection is more effective. Sharing a story with a friend, listening carefully to a loved one's words, reflecting on a past event with warmth and clarity. These are the moments that keep your memory sharp because they require presence, empathy, and engagement. Evelyn doesn't write things down to remember them. She remembers because she's fully present in the moment. She listens with interest and responds with heart. Her memory isn't stronger because of genetics. It's stronger because she uses it regularly like a muscle. And just like muscle, memory strengthens when it's used with intention. In fact, a 2022 study published in a global aging journal found that emotional storytelling improved memory performance by 23% in adults over 70 compared to traditional memory drills like puzzles or rote repetition. That's a major difference. Why? Because emotions help the brain form stronger memory pathways. When something matters to you, when you feel it, you're far more likely to remember it. So, if you're still able to remember not only what you ate yesterday, but also who you shared the meal with, what you talked about, and the smile on their face, you're not just remembering, you're connecting, you're anchoring yourself to your life and the people in it. That's more meaningful than any test score or clinical checklist. This kind of memory is what keeps us human. It reminds us who we are, who we love, and how far we've come. If you can still laugh about something funny from last week, or recall a kind word from a neighbor, your memory isn't slipping, it's thriving. And that says more about your vitality than any brain scan ever could. Keep your ears open. Keep your stories alive. And keep being present in the conversations that matter, because when you stay connected to the people around you, you're not just preserving memory, you're keeping your spirit engaged. And that, in every sense of the word, is a quiet and beautiful kind of victory. 3. You can put in pants while standing up. Here's a small action that says a lot: putting on your pants while standing up. It may sound a bit silly at first, but take a moment to think about it. If you're over 70 and you can still lift one leg, slide it through your pants without wobbling or sitting down. You're doing something many people quietly lose with age: balance. Take Leonard, 72, who starts every day by dressing himself without using a chair. He prefers tailored pants with a belt, never pull on sweatpants. To him, this isn't about style, it's about staying sharp. He once said, "If I can still stand on one leg and dress without help, I know I haven't lost control of my body." That little moment in his morning routine is his personal checkpoint, and it's surprisingly powerful. Balance is one of those abilities we rarely think about until it begins to slip. And when it does, the effects are often serious: increased risk of falls, fractures, and a sudden loss of independence. But maintaining balance is more than just staying upright. It's a sign that multiple systems in your body are still working together. Muscles, joints, nerves, and your brain all play a role in keeping you steady. According to a 2021 study conducted in Brazil, people over the age of 65 who were able to stand on one leg for at least 10 seconds had a 47% lower risk of death within the next 7 years than those who couldn't. That's a powerful statistic from such a simple task. It's not about perfection, it's about preservation. And balance isn't just physical, it's deeply neurological. Your inner ear, cerebellum, and sensory nerves must all coordinate in real time to keep you from tipping over. That's why some people begin to lose balance even before other signs of cognitive decline appear. So yes, losing balance can be a red flag for more than just mobility issues. The good news is, balance can be improved. Gentle practices like Tai Chi, walking heel to toe, or simply standing on one leg while brushing your teeth can all help strengthen your body's coordination. But even more meaningful than the exercises themselves is the awareness of balance, of paying attention to the little signs that your body gives you. And perhaps the simplest test of all, putting on your pants while standing. If you can do this without grabbing onto furniture or leaning against a wall, it means your muscles are alert, your core is engaged, and your mind is fully tuned in. That's not just a movement, that's a message you still have control. Of course, this isn't a contest. No one's keeping score. But if tomorrow morning you catch yourself standing tall, lifting one leg at a time, sliding each foot through with steadiness and focus, take a second to smile. That moment of balance, often unnoticed, is worth celebrating. It means you're still in sync with your body. You're not losing ground, you're holding it. Leonard may laugh when he calls it his morning challenge. But deep down, he knows it's serious. It's how he checks in with himself. And if you're doing the same, if you still have the balance to dress standing tall, you're not just getting older. You're stepping into this stage of life with grace, confidence, and quiet strength that, without question, is a win. 4. You can still laugh without holding back. Number 4 is something simple, yet deeply powerful. You can still laugh, and not the quiet. Poritakind. We're talking about the kind of laughter that escapes without warning. The kind that makes your eyes close, your shoulders shake, and your soul feel lighter. Let me tell you about Ruth. She's 76, has arthritis in both hands, and her eyesight isn't what it used to be. Her husband passed away 10 years ago. Life has thrown her more than her fair share of challenges. But despite it all, Ruth has a laugh that fills the room, bold, unfiltered, straight from the belly. And when she laughs, it's like her whole body joins in. That kind of laughter is more than a moment of joy. It's a sign of emotional strength. Studies have shown that frequent laughter can lower cortisol, the hormone your body produces when you're stressed. In fact, a 2023 meta-analysis conducted in Japan found that older adults who laughed regularly had 34% lower cortisol levels, on average, than those who didn't. That's not a small shift. It's a biological reset. Laughter doesn't stop there. It also boosts serotonin, helps blood vessels expand more easily, and lowers blood pressure naturally. All of this happens without a prescription, just through a few moments of genuine joy. But beyond the science, laughter is an emotional anchor. It keeps us grounded when everything else feels uncertain. As we grow older, the world can feel like it's closing in. Friends pass away. Children move far. Energy fades. But laughter reminds us that life still has strange, beautiful, ridiculous things to offer. Ruth once told me, if someone drops their keys and then steps on them trying to pick them up, I'll still laugh. That mindset, finding humor in the ordinary, even on the grayest days, is what gives her resilience It's not about denying pain or sadness. It's about making room for joy, even in small doses. And you don't need a comedian or a clever punchline. Humor lives in the little moments when squirrels argue on your porch, when your neighbor's dog wears a sweater 3 sizes too small, or when you remember that time you wore your slippers to the grocery store. It's in the quirks, the messiness, the things you'd never script but will always remember. From a neurological point of view, laughter is like a workout for your brain. It activates multiple regions at once: the amygdala for emotion, the hippocampus for memory, the prefrontal cortex for thought. That's why it's been linked to improved cognitive health. A 2019 study from UCLA even reported that just 15 minutes of daily comedy viewing reduced memory complaints by 40% in older adults over 6 months. So if you still really laugh at stories, at memories, or at yourself when you put the milk in the cupboard instead of the fridge, you're not just enjoying life. You're healing. You're keeping your brain alert, your heart lighter, and your spirit fully alive. Laughter doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you're still engaged, still human, still open to surprise. And in a world that often feels too serious, that kind of laughter is a gift. It says, I'm still here. I still see the wonder in it all. If your laugh still rings out raw, deep, and contagious, then you're not just doing well, you're glowing. And that, without question, is a beautiful kind of victory. 5, you keep in touch with people. Number 5, you still reach out to others. And that, my friend, is a quiet kind of strength. Connection after 70 is not automatic. It doesn't just fall into your lap the way it might have in school, at work, or while raising a family. At this stage of life, friendship becomes a conscious act, something you tend, like a garden, that still matters. Even when the world forgets it's blooming, there's a man named Gerald, now 73, who sends handwritten birthday cards to 5 of his college friends every single year. He picks the cards himself, writes with a fountain pen, and even adds a small memory or joke. Some of these friends live across the country. One is in a care home. Sometimes they don't reply. But Gerald continues, it's not about the response. He says, it's about the thread that still connects us. That thread, the human bond, is far more important than most realize. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest-running research projects on aging, found that people with strong social relationships in their 70s reported higher levels of happiness, stronger memory retention, and lived an average of 7.5 years longer than those who were isolated. And those extra years weren't just longer, they were fuller. But let's be clear, it's not just about having someone in the room. It's about emotional closeness. The kind of friendship where you can talk about the weather and your fears in the same conversation, where silence feels safe, where you feel seen, even if you haven't said a word. Unfortunately, many older adults begin to withdraw. They stop calling. They assume no one wants to hear from them. They start to feel invisible. But the truth is, choosing to stay connected, even in small ways, is a powerful form of self-care. It tells your body and your brain, I still belong somewhere. Neuroscience supports this. When we make meaningful contact with others, whether through a phone call, a letter, or a simple check-in, our bodies release oxytocin, the hormone tied to bonding and trust. That surge doesn't just feel good. It improves immune function, reduces inflammation, and boosts mood. And you don't need a prescription. Better yet, it's never too late to connect. I've seen people in their 80s make new friends at book clubs, community centers, gardening groups, or simply by showing up. They don't need to be social butterflies. They just need to be present. Because showing up is often the hardest part and also the most meaningful. So, if you're still the one sending birthday wishes, asking your neighbor how their grandchildren are, or calling a friend just to talk. You're doing something extraordinary. You're not just staying social. You're weaving your life into the lives of others. That fabric of connection, with all its knots and colors, may end up being your most beautiful legacy. At this stage, connection is not an obligation. It's a choice rooted in desire. And if you're still choosing people, still showing up, still reaching out, then you are not fading away. You are thriving. And that, more than anything, is what it means to truly live. 6. You still cook your own meals. There's something quietly powerful about stepping into your own kitchen and preparing a meal, especially when it's just for you. It may look simple on the surface, but behind that act is a deep declaration: I still care for myself. Meet Eleanor. She's 75, lives alone in a small, sunlit apartment, and has been widowed for 8 years. Every evening, she prepares a warm dinner, nothing fancy, just fresh vegetables, a bit of fish, sometimes a bowl of soup she's perfected over the years. She doesn't do it because she has to. She does it because it reminds her that she's still in charge of her health, her time, and her story. Cooking may not seem like much, but it's a quiet victory of independence. It requires balance, memory, planning, and most of all, intention. You choose what goes into your body. You decide what flavor speaks to your mood. That's emotional strength disguised as routine. Studies have shown that older adults who cook regularly are more likely to have better nutritional intake, stronger cognitive function, and greater emotional satisfaction. It's not just about feeding the body, it's about feeding the soul. Even making a cup of tea, boiling an egg, or slicing fruit becomes a way of saying, I am still here. You still matter. And that's the real beauty of it. You don't need a crowd, a celebration, or applause. Just the smell of garlic in a pan, the sound of the kettle whistling, the quiet pride of placing a plate on the table, knowing you made it. That's not just cooking, that's living. So, let's take a quiet moment to reflect. If you're still walking steadily, remembering meaningful conversations, keeping your balance while getting dressed, laughing from your belly, staying connected with people, and cooking your own meals, then you're not fading away. You're flourishing. You are proof that strength comes in subtle ways. These may seem like small actions, but together, they form a powerful message. You are still present, still aware, still in motion. That is what thriving looks like after 70, not loud or flashy, but steady, soulful, and deeply rooted in intention. You see, winning in this stage of life isn't about climbing mountains. It's about showing up each day with purpose, with kindness, with joy in the ordinary, maybe in the way you brew your tea, the way you smile at a neighbor, the way you choose to keep going. And if this video spoke to something in you, take a second to honor that. You're still capable, still growing, still shaping the world around you, one gentle step at a time. If you found value in this message, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell, not for noise, but so we can keep walking this journey together. Because aging isn't the end of the story. It's the part where your wisdom starts to bloom.